You're watching SBA Today. With all the latest news, stories, and advice, here are your hosts, Paul Long and Tonya Mazurek.
Good morning and welcome to SBA Today. So we had a wee bit of an issue. Paul is out of state right now and could not get his computer to work. So, hey, you get just me until if he gets to come on. Anyway, welcome to SBA Today. We are brought to you by Res Title, the experts in title work. So check them out. It's May 12th. Anyway, so I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about an issue that happened to me this morning. So last night, I decided to make a pot of coffee. Within making that pot of coffee, I went ahead and did, the delayed start so it'd be ready for me this morning. I typically make French press. I don't always do the coffee pot. So in doing the coffee pot, it's a little bit different. I don't always think about it. And yeah, I got everything ready. I turned on delayed start, got busy doing something else, went back in. I was like, oh, I should load the dishwasher. So I load the dishwasher, look over at the coffee pot, and I'm like, oh, let's put that in there. So yes, I loaded the dishwasher with the coffee pot that was under the delayed start coffee and woke up to quite the mess this morning. Now, there's something to go with that. And at the end, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it that has to do with the differences between PLP banks and GP banks. Anyway, regardless, we're just going to get started and hopefully Paul can join us at some point. Anyway, first 100 days of SBA administration. What have they done? All right. Small Business Administration celebrates first 100 days accomplishments. Yay, here we go. What did they do? All right. SBA has delivered an 80% increase in 7A and 504 loan approvals with about 26,000 loans approved for $12.6 billion. This includes a 95% increase in loans for businesses with 5 or fewer employees, nearly 15,500 loans, a 56% increase in loans for new startups. That's over 3,700 loans, and a 74% increase in 7A loans for manufacturers, over 1,500 loans. Whew. In total, about 60% of all new SBA loans in the first 100 days benefited America's smallest job creators with 5 or fewer employees. Yay! Congrats, guys. Anyway, reduced total agency spending by about $190 million, terminated or paused over 120 contracts for about $3 billion in future savings, terminated or consolidated or relocated 47% of SBA leases, including regional offices located in sanctuary cities. We are a sanctuary city. Anyway, announced an agency-wide reorganization that will reduce the SBA workforce by 43%, restoring it to pre-pandemic levels for a cost savings of $435 million annually by 2026. Are you there, Paul?
I am. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Holy moly. Yes. I'm going to kick his butt after this. Oh, yeah.
I know you are.
Down. Oh,
by the way, be careful of those roadside motels.
He saw my face. Anyway, so do you want to jump in with where we're at there, Paul? And we'll just keep going through or, yeah. So,
well, I missed the first part. I am sorry.
Right.
Awesome audience.
I'll just keep going.
Yeah, sorry. I'm traveling. I'm in Hermiston, Oregon today. We have a person who won our exporter of the year out of Oregon. So I'm down here to do an award with them. And so that's the cool thing about National Small Business Week. So did you share your story, Tonya?
I did.
Okay, awesome.
I mean, there's more coming with it, but anyway, yes.
Okay, gotcha. So we're on 100 days?
100 days. So launching the Made in America Manufacturing Initiative to cut $100 billion in red tape, improve access to capital, promote workforce development.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just keep going. Enhanced fraud protections within SBA loan programs by mandating that all loan applications include citizenship and birth date verification. And
we restored underwriting standards and lender fees to the 7A program in effort to preserve zero subsidy, which is the most important part of the program to protect taxpayers.
Yeah. And what's funny about this, guys? This is typical, right? And this can happen with anybody whenever it comes to whether it be, Paul having some issues getting on, right? And sometimes you've just got to run with things. Same thing happens in your business. So give us a little slack and we'll give you slack and we'll all be well.
That's right.
Except I'm not giving him slack after y'all. Oh yeah, it's going.
I'm sure I'm going to hear about it. Well, obviously, there's some cool
Yep.
stuff that's going on. Want to say hello to all of our listeners over at the Nagel Spring Conference. I hear that SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler is there, and boy, I really do wish I was there because I bet you that would be very interesting to hear
Oh
that,
yeah, I bet.
especially with, most importantly, all of the the career SBA people that are
Mm.
kind of sharing what's in the pipeline, right? That's the biggest thing
Mhm.
I think we all want to know is that. So,
Right.
so I look forward to
Well,
hearing that.
and also with that, we want to for sure congratulate Greg and Shelly MacArthur of NTL Industries. They were the 2025 National Small Business Person of the Year award winners. And they were one of those small businesses. You guys will appreciate this. They started in their garage. Now, how many have done that? Many across the board, right? They start in the garage and then they just expand and grow. Congratulations, you guys. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
I
Way to
mean,
go.
yeah,
The
yeah.
next
We're pretty
Amazon.
excited about it. Exactly, exactly. So I posted yesterday the differences between PLP and GP programs. So I don't know if you guys saw those, but they were on my LinkedIn. And we want to go over that a bit, don't we, Paul?
Yeah,
We're
there's
going
a
to go over
lot of
that.
changes in that.
Yeah. For the full post, if you want, you can go to the specifics. You can go to my LinkedIn page at Tonya Mazurek on LinkedIn, right? But Paul, what are your thoughts? And let's get moving on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, PLP lenders are kind of like the SBA trusted fast lane, as I think that's a great way to put it. They've earned authority to make loan decisions without SBA approval. They are the one and dones. They're the in-house shop. They don't rely on a whole bunch of
Yep.
third parties. They do their own reviews, their own audits. They do everything.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the only offset is we take all the risk, right? And so
Exactly.
it forces us as lenders to do what's right.
Yep. It's kind of the think of PLP as the we've got this lenders, right? Right? They know what they're doing, they do the underwriting, they do the final approvals, and they simply notify the SBA. Now, the program was built for speed and efficiency. Okay.
Yep.
But it's only awarded to those that have been in the industry a minute, Matt. They've proven themselves. They've got a strong performance record. Newcomers aren't just awarded it; they actually have to earn their stripes.
You
So,
absolutely do.
yeah.
Yep. And the upside for borrowers, of course, is that benefit of that quick turnaround. As banks aren't wanting, is not waiting for the SBA decision, which could be short, could be long, depending on what's going on.
Right, right. And the downside for the borrowers, yeah, I mean, it's more of a black and white approach to loan decisions that you're going to get from the PLP shops rather than playing in that gray area. At least now, since they can't go the GP route anymore. Anyway, okay. So what is general processing, right? What's the GP program? That is the standard route, right? SBA gets the final say on whether the loan is approved. So the bank does the in-house underwriting and whatnot. They approve it in-house, and then they send it to the SBA for the final approval and the thumbs up. So the upfront approval, if you will. It's slower, yet some consider safer, specifically for newer and less experienced lenders. For complex deals or edge case borrowers, those are on the edge in that gray area kind of thing. GP gives everyone a second set of eyes. When and if it's approved, it just makes you feel a little bit better in a safety, really, to move forward.
Yeah, it's definitely you got to earn your stripes, right?
Earn them.
And there's a lot of institutions, small institutions, that want to kind of dab and kind of see what SBA is like. GP is the way to go for that.
Absolutely. So the upside for borrowers is for those deals that may have a challenge or a hurdle or some sort, of some sort, specifically if it involves a question or on the interpretation of the SOP.
That never happened.
Never. Okay, so this would be the gray area that we're talking about. Some banks back office credit, feel more comfortable, right? If they've got a second set of eyes on those that are making the decision, because they would rather find out up front, right, that they've got an approval on it from SBA than run it through and then find out down the road that an interpretation was misinterpreted, I guess, and that there was an issue. So the GP route really gives that second set of eyes from the SBA, approving it up front versus a bank waiting for the back end. Maybe I misinterpreted. Maybe I didn't see something correctly, and then all of a sudden having a problem after the fact. So it gives a little sense of safety up front.
Well, and now, especially with the rules that PLP banks now strictly have to go PLP, only
Yeah.
with that exception-based avenue. I think of you often, Tonya, when I read that. GP banks, it really didn't affect much outward on that, on the decisioning, but it really helped them, compete against other GP banks versus PLP versus GP banks. So you got to get on board or go back. And during that call, seeing, people say, how do I give back my PLP? I'm like, you're saying that? Wow. Like,
right.
woo, okay.
Well, and the ones that are saying that, Paul, I mean, we'll go further here, but the ones that are saying that likely are going to be those that are newer in the industry or don't have that same confidence level of moving forward in general. So they're going to go back to where they've got that second set of eyes. They've got that safety net. And so they're the ones that are doing that. The others, they're going to stick with PLP. But anyway, over time, it will likely speed up the process for all borrowers, regardless the route that they take. But while it's being implemented, we likely are going to have some, some snafus basically, or some things that are going to create maybe some delays and whatnot. But we're hoping that's just for the interim period, and then past that, it'll move forward and it'll be better for everybody.
Well, and again, there's a lot less staff members at SBA. Let's be real. That's the reason for this.
It is. And before we even look at the rest, okay, so I am going to throw in there. So this morning's story, right, when it came to my coffee pot. So I want to kind of put an analogy out there so you guys can see, because it can really be seen the same as with a GP and a PLP lender, right? So I had a snafu this morning with the coffee pot where I didn't have a safety, I guess, turn-off valve, a safety shut-off really on my coffee pot. So I have it ready to go. It's on delay brew. I go to bed and there's no dadgum carafe sitting there to catch the coffee that's coming through. Now, had I had a safety net on it or a safety shut-off valve, guess what? It would have shut it off when there was any issue with that carafe, or that carafe was broken, or the dadgum thing is missing, or maybe I thought I had a carafe there and actually it was, a baggie, for goodness sake. But anyway, there was no safety net, right? So it's the same as like with a PLP and or a GP lender. So for you borrowers that don't really understand the difference, if you take your loan through a PLP lender, right, they're doing it. They're like me. They set the coffee pot. They move on. They think they got it. It's typical. It's normal. And it moves really, really fast oftentimes. But there is no second set of eyes on it. There is no approval up front. So if you go the GP route, that's really great if you've got a carafe that's got a little crack in it, or you're not quite sure if you've got it set correctly, or, something has occurred like Tonya, that doesn't put the carafe on the coffee pot overnight, right? And the coffee just kind of made a big old honking mess.
So
Same thing. Go ahead.
You better make sure your coffee's good.
It's making sure your coffee's good, and really that second set of eyes is really nice. It doesn't PLP is not better than GP. GP is not better than PLP. They both have separate directions that they go. There's very good pros and cons for each one. It just, no longer are you going to go PLP and they're going to have this second set of eyes that they can, send the ones to that, maybe it's the Tonya in the middle of the night that's not really paying attention and doesn't do what she's supposed to do, but typically does.
I think it's going to be important for lenders and, more importantly, underwriters to share what's in the SOP in their credit write-up, share their interpretation of it in the credit write-up. So in the case of a default, at least you have a story to go back to on why you made, and you weren't trying to, you were trying to be a prudent lender, and that's the whole point of it.
Well, and it's the prudent lender, but it's also, those loan officers or I'm sorry, the business brokers and, the borrowers that are coming in. know that if there's something that's a little challenging on your deal, right? You've got some credit issues in your past. There's some issues maybe with the cash flow or the historicals or anything along those lines. And you typically would have gone to a PLP bank that had the option to go GP. You may want to either just consider going straight to a GP bank that's got a little more leeway in looking at the story and going the route that's going to have some safety for them, then go in the other, because that might slow it down. Then they might get a decline, or they might, turn it down, and then they're going to have to go the GP route anyway. It's going to hurt the borrowers if you go that route. So really, really know your deals up front. Anyway.
Amen. And
Amen.
sorry, and then of course I had the lawnmower outside too to keep going on this morning's awesome. This is the life of being a lender. You never know what's going to happen, right? Like, suck it up.
Believe me, I know. Yeah. Well, I definitely was not as fluid as I could have been this morning because I got a little bit stressed out. I was like, where's my party? Anyway. All right, guys. Well, regardless, we are live on Tuesday morning. So join us here again next on LinkedIn and or YouTube if you want us live. Otherwise, go to us on any of the streaming platforms that you get your podcast on. Check out our previous episodes, and as well as our family of podcasts, The Art of SBA Lending and the BDO Show. We've all got different information that we're putting out there. And if you'd like, I don't know, to reach out to Paul or I, connect with us. We'd love to take your questions. We'd love to connect with you. Otherwise, rise up with your big bad selves, and we'll see you next Tuesday.